Now, your KSNT forecast first, sponsored by Ed Bozarth Chevy Buick GMC.
It's still a toasty one out there right now with temperatures a mix of 80s and even a few low 90s still hanging out. But as we get to daybreak tomorrow, we'll be right in the upper 70s. When you can expect a break from the heat, will be up later on. KSNT News at 10 starts now.
Now on KSNT News.
A playground goes up in flames. What we know so far about how it started.
Plus, what will tomorrow bring for people still without power in Emporia? We continue our team coverage tonight.
And in tonight's Someone You Should Know, meet Bill Ogden and find out what keeps this 96-year-old going.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Brooke Lennington.
And I'm Jace Mills. We begin with breaking news out of Northwest Topeka tonight. This is a live look at a home in the 1700 block of Northwest Lower Silver Lake Road. You can see the police there. A shooting there has sent one man to the hospital and left a woman in police custody. It happened around 8:45 this evening, and police described the woman as a person of interest. They say the man's injuries are not serious.
The Shawnee County Sheriff's Office is looking into a possible arson fire tonight. Firefighters got a call about a playground equipment on fire at Pauline South School in Topeka. That happened around 7 o'clock. Firefighters were able to put the fire out in a matter of minutes. The Sheriff's Office tells KSNT News they are treating the fire as a crime scene. Well, we've had crews on the scene of a water main break in Emporia for nearly 24 hours now.
That's right. The water plant where it happened is in Northwest Emporia. A major line coming out of the water plant broke. That's in the center of the town at 15th and Prairie where that line broke. That caused the entire system to lose pressure. The city then lost all the water stored at its plant.
And right now we're going to tell you a little bit more about this. We talked to several people out there today, and all of them seem to be hanging in there, and that's the good news. However, they are making the most out of it. This is, of course, a tough situation to deal with because of the heat, and it does leave some with a few questions. Now, work will continue in the area of West 15th and Prairie over the next few days as the ground is replaced following the install of this new pipe. This causing a bit of traffic, as you can imagine, in this small neighborhood, and that brings headaches for some.
Well, it wasn't mass hysteria, but yes, there was certainly some cranky people. I think not a good way to start the day.
And we did speak with city officials again just a little while ago. They say service could be fully restored by midnight. We're now just hours away from their latest target deadline. The boil water order will most likely remain in effect through the weekend. The next step in all of this is awaiting for the Kansas Department of Health and Environment's test results to guarantee clean water is running through your faucets after the pressure drop caused by the break.
And as you can imagine, today was frustrating for many people in Emporia, but there was a bright spot through all of that. No matter where you were today in the city, you could find people helping. People told us they were thankful for everyone who pitched in today. Dozens of Northeast Kansas organizations and businesses loaded up water and sent volunteers to help. I talked with a volunteer earlier today who said some people just showed up at the place where they were handing out water and asked how they could help.
I think it's awesome. I think everybody should work together at other things.
I think it's a good thing that we come together and get things taken care of.
And a reminder there why we love Kansas. Organizers at some of the water distribution sites said they handed out between 2,000 and 3,000 cases of water. They stopped handing out water today at 8. They will start giving out cases of water around 8 tomorrow morning.
Now, this incident happened on the worst possible day for those in Emporia. Today was one of the hottest days of the year for the city, with temperatures reaching the triple digits. Let's check in with KSNT Storm Track meteorologist Christina Reese now. Christina, what else can you tell us about this heat?
That we're not going to get a break from it just yet, and that does include Lyon County and Emporia. An excessive heat warning still in effect through Saturday evening. This is set to expire at 8 o'clock Saturday evening, but at least now we're finally starting to catch a break from the blistering heat from earlier. We're a mix of 80s and even a couple 90s still hanging out. 85 though for Emporia, 90 at Junction City, 89 for the Little Apple. But once you factor in that humid air and still in place, it feels as if it's still in the 90s. Even 98 is a real feel right here in the capital city. Now for tonight in Emporia, it's still going to be another warm and stuffy one, but even as we get into the pre-dawn hours, 4 a.m., in the upper 70s, getting a little bit of relief from the winds out of the south at 5 to 10 miles per hour, but we are still in the midst of this heat wave. How much longer you can expect the hot weather to last is coming up later on my full forecast.
And residents weren't the only ones affected by the lack of water.
We reached out to Newman Regional Health Emporia Hospital, and they told us they canceled every elective surgery and appointment for the day because of the water main break. Doctors are using bottled water for just about everything. However, this does not mean the hospital is not ready for an emergency.
We did not do any surgical cases. We haven't had to do any emergent cases. So we haven't had to, deal with that piece, but we do have equipment ready for emergency procedures.
And Stormont Vail Hospital in Topeka, as well as a few hospitals from Kansas City, sent water to Newman Regional today to help keep the hospital running as smooth as possible. The lack of water even closed restaurants across Emporia.
That's right. One man couldn't even find a hot meal at a place he thought was a sure thing. KSNT News reporter Willis Scott tells us why it was all about the water.
Andrew Johnson stopped at this gas station for a bite to eat on his way home from work.
I drove by Subway, figured they were closed. I saw a sign up on the door. I was like, okay, well, I'll stop here.
He was surprised to find even the convenience store couldn't serve him.
It's just pizza. I didn't figure they needed water for that, but obviously they need the water to clean the utensils for the pizza, so I'm missing out. I'm going to have to go home and have some cereal.
The vice president of the company that owns the gas station was there today. He says Johnson wasn't the first one to stop by for a slice.
They've been coming in all morning hoping that somebody still has some food available and has anything working, and it's shut down all over town. So.
They won't make food or drinks again until they can sanitize their water lines.
We're not going to endanger our customers by opening up before we've had everything cleaned.
Johnson didn't let the dry faucets at his house or the pizza shortage in town worry him.
It's nothing to freak out about, but it's inconvenient.
When water returns, restaurants can boil it to use for sterilization. Reporting in Emporia, Willis Scott, KSNT News.
Forget how many things water is necessary for. The convenience store says the Department of Agriculture told them not to serve food. Restaurants affected by the water main break will have to wait for the state to give them the okay to use city water. And the water main break certainly had an impact on the sports front also. Almost all practices and camps at Emporia State were canceled today, except for one. A Hornets football prospect camp with about 80 campers was moved to Andover. That's near Wichita. This created quite a scramble for coaches and players. Head coach Garen Higgins says he was impressed with his coaching staff for being able to call an audible in a few hours and recognize this camp.
That means a lot to us because as coaches you're always looking for those players too that love the game of football and are willing to make adjustments if necessary, and that's kind of how we went about this thing. You got to go through adversity during the season, and you got to make halftime adjustments to try to figure out a way to make things work. And I got a great coaching staff. They got a lot of we put our minds together and kind of came up with a solution. This is the great thing about football. It's about teammates, and we were able to get a hold of an old alum, maybe not necessarily an old alum, but an alumni football player, Cade Armstrong, who's the head football coach at Andover, and he was able to get some things done, and we were able to go there, and we're able to be there tonight.
And the Kansas Shrine Bowl is next Saturday night. The East team was also supposed to practice at Welch Stadium. The East team will now report to Butler County Community College starting at 9 tomorrow morning.
People also steered clear of swimming pools today. We traveled around Emporia to see if anyone was using the city pools to keep cool from the summer heat. Both the indoor pool at the Recreational Center and the outdoor pool at the Aquatic Center were closed to the public. The city hopes to reopen the facilities tomorrow. One interesting note about Emporia's municipal water supply, it's considered as some of the best in the world. In May, the water treatment plant was awarded second place at an international water tasting competition in West Virginia, falling just a few points short of taking home the gold. Emporia did bring back gold just 4 years ago at the same competition, beating out more than 30 other municipalities from a dozen states, as well as 2 foreign countries. How about that? Well, if you live in Topeka, you may be wondering if a major water main break could happen here.
The city's deputy utilities director says it could. However, it's not likely. The city has what he calls a redundant system. The system keeps pressure in most of the water mains when one breaks. He said it would take a perfect storm of breaks to leave Topeka without water.
It would have to be truly we would lose a couple of pumps in a pump station. We would have a tower drain down. We would have a major transmission main break for us to lose pressure in our system.
And he says if the city did ever lose its water pressure, there would be a boil water advisory. That's because unclean water can sometimes flow backwards into the system when there's a loss of pressure. And remember to get the most updated information on this water emergency. Just go to KSNT.com. There you can find information on businesses and organizations that have closed because of the water main break. You can also find an updated list of areas that remain under a boil water advisory. And while you're there, you can also download our mobile app. 96 years old and still going strong.
We'll take you to the Little Apple and introduce you to this man, a World War II veteran, and we'll tell you why he spends so much time at a laundromat. That's still ahead.
And later in sports, we'll see if the Royals can win their series finale against the Tigers and force a 4-game split. Plus, it is championship time in the Mid-Plains League. The Golden Giants and Brigade played Game 1 of their series tonight. I'll have the highlights for you in about 15 minutes.
And today was yet another day we did not catch a break from the heat. We saw high temperatures climb into the triple digits. Will we see a repeat offender leading into the weekend as well? I'll let you know coming up in my full KSNT Storm Track forecast. Stay with us. Good evening, Northeast Kansas. Thanks for joining us here on KSNT News. It's shaping up to be another warm but stuffy night for tonight, and that's because we just cannot break of this heat wave we're in, and that will continue for the next couple of days. We'll get some relief, and it'll start in the form of some rain chances that'll move back in for this weekend. Currently, though, we are finally back down to the 80s here in the capital city, 88 degrees, but check out that heat index, still feeling as if it's 98. We got a degree warmer than that today, rather, with our actual air temperature topping out at a high of 99. But now that we've lost that sunlight and some of the blistering heat, it's still toasty out there as we're a mix of 80s and a few 90s, 87 for Holton as well as Forbes Field, pair of 85s for Emporia and Council Grove. But Junction City, you're still sitting at that 90-degree mark. But you factor in that dew pointer, the measurement of how much moisture is in the air, that surging heat index value still in the low to upper 90s across the region. Now, throughout the course of the day today, we got some relief with southerly winds, and they're still helping out a little bit at about 10 to 15 miles per hour. Generally speaking, we'll see those winds stick around for tonight, with southerly winds sticking around for the next couple of days. So that'll help keep us warm, especially overnight tonight, stopping here at 6:30 tomorrow morning. Some of us will be waking up already in the low 80s, so you can already get a sense that tomorrow is going to be another scorcher of a day, as we're talking upper 90s to low 100s, especially for those in our western areas. Once again, the further west you are, yes, you'll be hotter, but also slightly less humid. The muggiest of air will once again be over our eastern regions. Now, Saturday paints a little bit of a different picture. You'll see some mid-90s for our northern areas, now low 100s for our southern areas. That difference is actually going to be due to our next cold front that pushes through. Still going to be hot and humid for Saturday, don't get me wrong, but this is going to be the factor that provides some relief, more so on Sunday. So with that in mind, an excessive heat warning for all of Northeast Kansas is still in effect through Saturday evening at 8 p.m. That's when that is set to expire. Otherwise, it's been a quiet one across the region. Hardly a cloud in the sky throughout the day, and that's still the trend as you'll see on satellite and radar. But there are a couple things we want to note. Due north and also well to our west, you can see all this activity, but notice how it's really just circling around us. We are just stuck in this bubble of quiet weather. It's hot, but quiet, and that's what we can expect for tonight as well. I'm calling for a low of 78 degrees with those southerly winds at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. But again, it is going to be another night of fairly uncomfortable sleeping weather. Now, tomorrow will be almost identical to today in terms of the sky conditions. Plenty of sunshine, hardly a cloud in the sky. That'll be the case as we start off Saturday as well. But as we get into the afternoon, you'll see the clouds start to thicken up and a couple of rain chances by late afternoon, spilling its way all the way into Sunday. That's due to that cold front that's going to push through. So the first half of Saturday, not half bad. and it's going to allow us to heat right back up. So we're still calling for a high of 100 degrees for Saturday, with those scattered shower and storm chances coming late Saturday afternoon into the evening and spilling over into Sunday as well. But notice the temperature drop off. Low 90s for Sunday, and those temperatures will even bump back into the upper 80s for the start of the new work week. So the main takeaway is we have a couple more days to endure the triple-digit heat, and then we'll finally catch a break.
All right, and we need it too, because my goodness, it's been hot.
It is just painfully hot out there.
Yes, it is.
Yes. Well, at 96 years old, you would think he has paid his dues by now.
But a local man is still collecting change. We went to the Little Apple and found out why this man is spending his days working on washers and dryers. That's still ahead on KSNT News at 10.
Welcome back to KSNT News at 10. Well, most of us have plans to retire someday, but that's not the case for a 96-year-old man in Manhattan.
I love to work and I like to be useful.
So I went to find out what it is about working that he loves so much. Listen to what he told me in tonight's Someone You Should Know.
All it takes is 2 quarters.
It's working.
That washing machine isn't the only thing working again.
Check the inside of the machine, see if it's clean.
Everything in this laundromat keeps ticking, thanks to Bill Ogden.
If you have a problem with the machine and you fix it, then you feel good about it.
At 96 years old, you would think this World War II veteran had paid his dues. But he just can't stop collecting change.
I thank God every day that I am useful and I am able to get up and go work.
For Bill, he's never really had a break from working, even as a young boy.
First thing was I was a farmer raising tobacco.
From there, he went to Missouri and worked for a grocery store.
Then I went from there to the AMPT company and worked there for 25 years.
After that, he owned his own grocery store for 18 years.
I get flustered if I don't work.
So as soon as one door closed, another one opened.
Then I went to work for the Maytag laundry, is what we had here with Maytag, and it's called Suds Ya Duds.
Since 1993, he's been a manager at the same laundromat.
$1 up to $20 goes in each one of these here.
If you ask Bill why he's still working at his age, he'll admit he likes to tinker. But that's not why he's still working.
I love people. That's been my whole life, is loving people.
And he shows it anytime someone walks through the door.
Hello. Hi.
And he just loves people. That's why he won't stop. But Jace, I did ask him, I said, Bill, what is the secret to living a long, healthy life? And you know what he told me?
What was that?
A low sugar diet and no alcohol and no stress.
No stress.
And he's also really big on exercise. And I said, well, Bill, what are you doing? And he said, he does square dancing almost once a week. So.
Well, I liked to, there were a couple of things he said. He said, I thank God every day that I'm useful. And that just makes you put things in perspective. So great story again, Brooke, and good work on that.
Yeah, he's a great guy. Now, if you have someone you think we should know, use our Report It feature at ksnt.com or on our mobile app. Straight ahead, the championship series is underway in the Mid-Plains League between Topeka and Junction City.
Plus, the Royals try to carry the momentum from last night's win into their series finale against the Tigers. Matt Gasper has more after the break.
Now, tonight's sports report from the Dish Sports Desk.
After a wild walk-off win last night against the Tigers, the Royals are flying high with confidence once again. And with Cleveland off tonight, they have a chance to pull within 1.5 games of first place if they can get a W. Jorge Bonifacio looking to get things started in the first inning, and he does just that. This is a laser into right center field. And the Tigers had a tremendously difficult time playing defense in inning number 1. That ball is bobbled. You bet Whit Merrifield's heading home. He scores to give the Royals an early 1-0 lead. Then things get crazier. Salvador Perez gets jammed, but that's okay because there's a lot of open green grass out there down the line and left. It drops, but Bonifacio thought he was staying at third. However, he gets into a rundown, but look at this. Detroit throws the ball away again. KC would score 4 runs in the first inning on 3 Tigers errors. Then in the fourth, Eric Hosmer gets his hands extended. And that's the thing with him. When he does square one up, you know it's gone. Into the fountains for Haas. KC on top 5-0. Then last night's hero comes through again. Brandon Moss drills this one deep into the gap in right center field. 2 more runs come around to score. The Royals played 4 in the 3rd inning as well and take an 8-0 lead. KC will put up another 4-run inning in the 6th. It's all Royals tonight. KC's in control. It is 12-4 in the 8th inning. If they hang on for the win, they'd be just a game and a half back in the division before they welcome last place Chicago into town tomorrow night. The Cowden Cup Finals begin this evening in the Mid-Plains League, a best-of-3 series between the Topeka Golden Giants and the Junction City Brigade. First-year manager of the Golden Giants, Connor Crimmins, was named Manager of the Year before first pitch. And there is JC warming up with a little game of hacky sack to get going. Also, Golden Giants slugger Eric Webb was named the league's Player of the Year. Topeka came out firing on offense. They scored 8 runs in the first 3 innings and took an 8-1 lead into the 4th, and they weren't finished. After back-to-back singles, this ball's lined into left. You see Connor Crimmins waving in another runner. Golden Giants add 2 more on that 2-run single. They jump in front 10-1. The Brigade, though, would do their part to try to make it competitive. Andrew McKenzie delivers a clutch 2-out, 2-run single right back up the middle and on into center field. But this game belonged to the Golden Giants from start to finish. Harry Hefner, the former Seaman Viking, gets a big strikeout right there. And then in the next half inning, the Golden Giants would tack on another run as Noah Hemphill goes the other direction. A nice effort out here in right field, but that ball drops in for an RBI single. Golden Giants dominate 11-5. They can now claim the championship tomorrow night in Game 2. First pitch is set for 7 o'clock in Junction City. Now, if the Brigade win, the deciding Game 3 will be back in Topeka on Saturday night. So a lot of good stuff out there today. Great game out there, but the Royals, that's impressive. They were able to get that come-from-behind win last night and then really just put on the burners tonight and really blowing out Detroit, trying to climb back into that division race.
Well, they're the Royals. You know, they always do this thing where they come back and they surprise you.
They do. They like to
Is
get
that
us.
what they do, Brooke?
Yes, Jace, I know my sports.
Just
Don't
like
you
that.
dare.
They like to think that, you know, we're down, everybody's forgetting them, and then all of a sudden they get that one boost of momentum, and just like that, we're all back on and
I'm
riding it out.
picking up what you're putting down,
That's
despite
good.
what Jace may think.
That's what we like to hear.
When we return, we'll have more from KSNT Storm Track meteorologist Christina Reese, who is tracking a break in the heat. Finally tonight, fruit punch and pickles may both be backyard barbecue favorites, but what about putting them together?
Walmart is so fond of the 2 items that it's putting them together. They're doing just that, Brooke. The product is called Tropickles.
Are you sure it's not Tropicals?
I think it's Tropickles.
I think Brooks got it.
I get Tropicals, yeah.
You think?
Tropicals.
But they got to emphasize the pickle part.
I don't think so.
No?
I think I'm right.
Okay,
the lady's always right.
We'll do a poll and we'll see.
Okay, well, we'll see ya. Well, anyway, the company is stocking Tropicals in select Walmart stores. This month, they sell for $2 each. I don't know. I don't even know what to say.
I get one tropical.
One Tropickle.
Tropical. Okay, they can debate this. Let's take a final look at your 7-day forecast. A couple more days of triple-digit heat before we finally catch a break.
Looks like a good weekend to get a hot dog and a tropical. Thank you for watching KSNT News at 10.
Have a great night.